In 2005, I did door-to-door sales. I chose to start a pest control business. We pulled on about 700 accounts. We were at about $3.2 million in revenue for that business.
What other technologies, what other softwares are you incorporating into your system so that you're able to scale? All right, welcome back, everybody. Today, we are speaking with Craig Broadhead. He is the owner of Network Pest, based out of Rogers, Arkansas. And we've got him out of the truck in the field. So we just know the insides are going to be pure gold. Is that right, Craig?
That's right, man. That's right.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Craig, I know we kind of had sent some questions and things, but really what we'd love to do is if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us about your history in the space, and then we'll start diving into some more specifics.
In 2005, I did door-to-door sales in Southern California, in Ventura. I worked for a small marketing company over there, did door-to-door for 3 years. And then during the time I was going to LDS Business College in Salt Lake City. And my last semester, I took a business planning class, and I chose to start a pest control business. So as I took that business planning class, I was like, you know what? Like all people who do it door to door, they're like, this is easy. I can start a pest control business, right? So as I took the business planning class, I realized I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. So I started that first. It's called Pacific Pest Control. I started that in Palm Springs in 2008. And did door-to-door for the first 2 years. We pulled on about 700 accounts. The first 2 years was really just two sales reps the first 2 years. And then we were literally burnt out from the desert heat. My wife and I were just kind of done with the desert. So we sold that business to that branch to Truly Nolan in 2010. And, I thought it was big money. I sold it for like $125,000 in 2010. I was like, sweet. It made lots of money.
We did it.
We made it.
That's no small feat, though. I mean, even to be able to exit, that's no small feat.
Yeah. And then after that, we moved to Orange County, to Irvine. I was working out of my house for the first year or two, realizing I need to get an office. I need to start hiring people. The first 3 years we were kind of growing kind of slow. And then once I got an office, we kind of really took off at that point for that business. So in 2021, we were at about $3.2 million in revenue for that business. We just had a lot of issues. I mean, as you know, the $3 million mark is kind of a bottleneck, you could say, or a break point.
Yeah, double tap on that a little more, though. Tell us, what bottlenecks were you running into at that $3 million mark, and what starts breaking?
Front end office, they need to be able to capture all of the leads. They need to capture all the information, try to close all the deals. At that point, we didn't really have a good sales CRM program. We were literally just having office people take phone calls and try to sell it, So yeah. That was really the main issue, I think, is not really converting a lot of people over the phone, right? We had a couple cancerous people in the office that really took things down. So it's really a series of trying to train the office, get the office manager aligned with the business, But unfortunately, we had a couple office managers that were just they didn't have the vision of the business, right? That was the issue, is getting the team working together to get over that $3 million mark, right?
Yeah, it seems like once you get to the point, like the 3 million mark, it's really hiring, right? At that point, do you have the right people on the bus in the right spots? That seems to be the feedback we hear, right? You can kind of manhandle it up to that point, and then it's beyond you. And if you don't have the right people, it's going to start falling apart.
At that point, I just kind of felt like my life and my family and God weren't really first in life, and the business was taking over. Like the business was literally running my life, So then that's why I decided to just put my offer out there. I was working with Potomac They're a brokerage company. So I had Potomac work with me, and I ended up using Potomac to sell my business to AntiCimex in 2021.
Okay. So you've done 2 exits now at this point, then total.
Correct.
Excellent. But I know we were chatting before the line. That's not the vision now for Network Pest, though. You've got different plans. Is that safe to say?
Different plans. So really, I think the vision is just to really hire people who have the same vision as you, give them operational tasks or sales tasks, and have ownership over divisions of the business, right? So it's our first year in business. So technically, I took 4 years off. So this is really our first year in business. So we should close out between $600,000 and $700,000 in revenue this year.
Are you guys? You have a couple door-to-door reps, right? That you're pounding the pavement with right now, or what's your main lead source?
So our main specialty right now is wildlife.
I can't wait to dive into that more too, because wildlife pest control is a whole nother different space. And where you're based out of in Arkansas, man, as the Arkansanians say, them is big critters.
Yes. Yeah, as you can see behind me, I have a lot of raccoon traps. So I don't know if you see that back there.
I think there's a raccoon back there, dude. Did one get out?
Oh no. Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, and honestly, so and I just want to clarify. So year 1, you guys have already reached 600K revenue. Did I hear that right?
We should close out between $600,000 and $700,000 year 1.
That's okay. So wow, year 1, that's quite remarkable. Walk us through that. Then was it niching down into wildlife as your niche that helped you grow? Because I feel like that's a great year 1 for a new pest control company.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, you got to figure out what your niche is. So right now in my area, there's not a lot of great wildlife companies. There's a couple 1 or 2 man truck operations out here, but there's the only other, I would say, competitor out here would be Critter Control. That's an actual scalable business. They're a franchise business, right? So my goal for this business is to be the number 1 scalable business brand for wildlife in the Arkansas, Southern Missouri market. So we specialize in full home exclusion services. So we basically seal up the whole house from the top ridge vents. We screen all the ridge vents from the top of the house all the way down to the weep screens around the foundation for mice, bats, squirrels, flying squirrels, raccoons, really anything to get in.
So was wildlife, was that something that you had previous experience with, or did you kind of have to learn the systems for that? How did you learn, what you just described sounds like it's simple as you explained it to us, but I'm sure it's very complicated in making sure that it's done correctly. How did you learn that? How did you install those practices? Yeah.
So coming from California, you really didn't do a lot of wildlife because it's really hard to do wildlife in California with all the laws of trying to, if you capture a raccoon, you have to put it down. You have to euthanize it, so it's a really difficult state to do wildlife in. So we specialize in rodents in California. Over the last year or 2, I've been looking at wildlife, been learning a few things. I would say the biggest thing is I hired a really good wildlife guy who moved here from Texas.
Okay.
So he's really running the wildlife division for us, for this business.
How did you find him?
Indeed.
Okay.
So put a job up there, found a guy out of Texas, and he kind of came in and helped you to define, the process of treating a home like you described.
Yes. Yeah. Getting the whole sales process in, now after taking a few years off, realizing if you want to be a scalable business, you need to have a sales CRM as well as a service CRM, you know?
Yeah.
So right now we're using Go High Level as our sales CRM, you know?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
It's a very powerful system. It's an awesome one to be using.
Yeah.
And then you guys are using Field Routes for your customer CRM. Is that right?
Field Work.
Oh, Field Work. Cool. That's right.
Yeah. Field Work. Yeah.
So I'm curious. One of the things, obviously you've been able to grow the company, to what it's at in a relatively short time span. What does your inbound leads look like? Does you usually get a phone call like, hey, I've got some raccoons by my trash cans, or flying squirrel just went through my house? And how do your inbound leads look like? How do you field those? And then how do you go out and kind of, advertise for, rodent control or any of the other specialities that you guys do?
Yeah, I think what sets us apart a lot is we have a lot of API integrations with like Angie's List or Thumbtack going straight into our Go High Level account. So for example, if someone from Angie's List contacts us, it webhooks straight into Go High Level, and that will trigger a text message to text them right back within seconds, right? So we are probably capturing, I would say, 80% of our Angie's List leads. We're the first one to respond. Using a sales CRM program, you need to use all of its capabilities. So like we have source codes for every single contact that comes in. So a lot of these source codes, we have UTM tracking through like Google Ads. We have webhooks with integrations. So a lot of those source codes are already in the contact when they call us through these UTM tracking codes, or the Google the Google Tag Manager as well.
Yep.
Makes sense.
That's smart. So are you running all the marketing yourself, Craig? Like setting all this up, the UTM perimeter tracking, Go High Level. I mean, that's a lot of marketing know-how. Are you running the show on that?
No, I interviewed a bunch of people from VAs down in South America.
Yeah.
So I've got a guy who's really good with social media and with Go High Level in general.
Yeah.
So I'm paying him $12 an hour to run all of my social media and digital marketing for me, all that as well. So, and I've got another guy from Venezuela. He has a really good English accent. He's handling all of my inbound phone calls as well.
Oh, great.
Okay. And did you use any platform to find these guys?
Discord.
Really?
Yeah, we actually have our own. We actually have our own training and channel in Discord we've set up for our business.
Yeah.
So if we want to talk to people, we have our own video conference rooms in our Discord channel. We have our daily all team meetings as well in our Discord video conference room every morning. There's a lot of channels out there you can find VAs through Discord.
Interesting. So you just joined like a VA channel, posted what you're looking for, guys applied, you interviewed, you found one that fit.
Yes.
There you go, man. That's an awesome blueprint for hiring affordable talent for marketing and for customer inbound sales. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I know that's probably a common pain point that a lot of, business owners in this space deal with is like, you're trying to grow, you're trying to do so on a budget, and you need affordable, good talent. So that is a more unique way to finding the talent that you needed to support your team. So that's super helpful.
I don't think I've ever heard of Discord channels as a route to do that. So that's cool. That's a cool strategy.
Yeah, to be honest, man, Discord's a really cool platform. If you pay like $10 a month, you can get their unlimited storage. So you can send videos and photos and like all your content through your Discord channel.
Oh, cool.
That is neat.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to compartmentalize everything that you need into one space. Okay, well, we're kind of on this subject right now, so I think we can start talking a little bit about your kind of sales and onboarding process then. You already touched on it a little bit, So what you did have a couple of guys that went and knocked doors for you. Was that just this last summer? Is that right?
I haven't had door-to-door reps for probably 16 years. So I have
Okay, so
not done.
no
Yeah.
guys knocking doors then. Okay, so it's just primarily your inbound. And so you already touched on you've got this VA in Venezuela, and he's fielding your phone calls. How did you train him up to kind of understand your processes? Like, did you have standard operating procedures already in place, or was that kind of something you had to build on the go?
We've gathered most of our training protocols through this platform called 10X Business. It's part of Cardone Ventures. If you've heard of Grant Cardone, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Grant Cardone, but there's a division called 10X Business, and this person who runs it, his name is Brandon Dawson. He successfully launched and sold $100 million plus businesses multiple times, right? So we've actually hired them as our mentors and our coaches to implement all of our processes, our SOPs, our strategies for our daily all-team meetings, which are a huge need for daily all-team meetings. Our automations, helping with us with our automations, and just really just so we can run an optimal business.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So is there like a list of 5 to 10 key metrics that you guys are tracking every day on these all team meetings?
Yeah. So through Go High Level, we run a report for all of our phone calls. So that's the first report we run daily. What we're getting phone calls daily. How many of those are first time callers? And of those first time callers, how many are qualified leads? And then how many are unqualified leads? So if someone calls us saying, "Hey, I've got a dead dog, or whatever, something, or termites," then we mark that as unqualified. It tags it, but we're also going to text them every 30 to 60 days to see if they have any questions or any type of pest issues. So they're in a pipeline that we're going to keep continually contact them, right? Qualified leads, we're going to then put an asterisk on those and make sure that we can send them estimates or go out there and do an inspection to their property. Okay. Of those inspections, we want to see how many of those are pending estimates in Go High Level. So of those pending estimates, how many are sold? And then what is the first year total value of each contact? So that's, and then daily we can figure out, okay, well, we have a lot of qualified leads that don't have inspections or estimates. Why don't we call them back and say, "Hey, I know you have this moth issue in your house. Can we come by and just take a look at it, the moth issue?" So that's really our daily all-team meetings. We also have daily KPIs for our technicians. For example, like metrics. I would say between KPIs and metrics, to me, a KPI is a glorified report, right? So like a glorified, like a KPI would be like an example, canceled customers, right? Is that a KPI you guys run, or?
Yeah.
Get that in the journal.
What's that?
Well, one of the things that we do on the internal side is a churn audit to get an idea of like what that cancellation rate looks like and tools and things tied to that. But you continue.
Yeah, so we have like daily KPIs of like, okay, like what is your sales rate? What is your close rate each day? Like what do you guys close in? Or like we also want you to make five outbound phone calls each day, so. And they're all doing phone calls through Go High Level, so we can track how many outbound phone calls they do. We can also add tasks to them through Go High Level to follow up with someone or call someone through a task as well.
Yes. And are these You're saying these are the KPIs that your field technicians are doing as well. So they're kind of a sales mixed role as well.
Yeah, they're doing sales and services. So like right now, I only have two trucks right now on the road, and I'm a backup right now.
Yeah.
But we're getting to the point where I need to hire a third person, because I'm probably in the truck 2 days a week, I would say, maybe 3 days, helping with jobs.
Yeah.
And my goal as a business owner, I don't want to go out and do $20 an hour stuff. I'd rather go out and I feel my value is $200 to $300 an hour.
Yep.
So by going out and setting traps for someone, right now I'm at a Dollar General. They have raccoons in their store. I'm setting 5 raccoon traps right now. But it's like, well, is that really worth my time to do that? So we're at a point where we have to hire a third person.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is the job you're on right now. They've got raccoons in the Dollar General. Is that right?
Yeah, we sold them. So we just got a hold of the regional branch manager. He oversees $50 generals.
Okay.
So we're hooking them up for this one. We're charging $1,200 to set traps for raccoons. But I also need to seal the store up. So we already told them it's going to probably be $3,000 to $5,000 to seal the whole building up. So I'm giving an estimate as well. Since I'm here, I'm giving an estimate as well. So really, it's kind of valuable for me to be here just to close this $5,000 deal.
Yeah. They see the boots on the ground. And I tell you, I don't know if raccoons in a Dollar General gets any more Arkansas or pest control than that. That is awesome. And you're capitalizing on it. You know what I mean? And then being able to connect with the branch owner of a Dollar General, there's 50 other opportunities for you to go and handle the wildlife. That's amazing. That's incredible.
Dude, I got just a super, super short story I got to share about pest control and raccoons. So I think you'll appreciate this, Craig. I served an LDS mission in Ohio, and I had this member who was a pest control technician, some sort of wildlife. He was focused on the wildlife side, and he had captured a raccoon. The raccoon was dead, and we had to come over for dinner that evening, and he had made this stew, and we were halfway through eating the stew, and he said, "You boys want to know what you're eating?" And he flipped around his camera and showed us the skinned raccoon that he had caught on the job and put in the stew.
Oh, wow.
Probably not very kosher. Hopefully you don't hire that guy.
Yeah, there might be a black raccoon meat market you want to stay out of, Craig.
Yeah, and Arkansas, yeah, you got to be kind of careful what you eat out here.
Careful what you eat out here. That's a whole other kind of barbecue.
It is, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the tech stacks that I heard you talk about was high level. That's a big one. What other technologies, what other softwares are you incorporating into your system so that you're able to scale?
Go high level. It's just really our the lead flow process, and then once it turns into a customer, then we use Fieldwork to do our routing and all of our services through Fieldwork. So that's what we're using for that. And we're running all of our production reports and all of our field reports through Fieldwork, and all of our sales leads and values through Go High Level. So we use both of those reports through both programs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. I know there's so many different pieces that bridge and sync and connect together. Jared, do you have something?
No. I was just going to say, I think that's a solid tech stack. And I think you've cracked the code on separating the two, because I think a lot of mistakes that folks make early on is trying to do everything in their customer CRM, whether that's Fieldworks, Field Routes, Pest Pack, and those solutions sometimes just aren't geared for the marketing side as well as they could be. And I think Go High Level can really separate you. Like you said, you're responding to those leads in under 5 minutes from Angi's lead and all those other sources, and that I think that's a big win. I think you cracked the code on that.
Yeah. Well, Craig, I also know that you had some thoughts. What are some other things as we kind of wrap up and close out that you've observed from being in the space, from growing your business? What are your kind of overall feelings about the industry and anything else that we didn't touch on as part of our conversation today?
I think the pest control industry is a great industry. I know there's a lot, it's getting more competitive, and we're in our economy is getting kind of weird. I would say starting a business 18 years ago to today, I think it's actually harder to start a business today than it was 18 years ago with, the costs of everything and competition and all that. So it's important if you do start a business or are running one, that you actually know what you're doing, because so many businesses I've seen are just kind of winging it as far as like they don't even really know what their cash flows like, or their profitability is. It's important to have. I would say it's very vital to have, if you're in business and you have quite a few routes, to have a monthly bookkeeper going, to keep you on, and at the beginning of the month to have your books reconciled and closed out, so that way you can see what your costs are and your profit margins are.
Yes. So outside of bookkeeping and the financial side and knowing where you stand, when you say got to know what you're doing, what else would you put into that bucket?
So being a business owner, I would say if you're trying to go from one truck to 3 to 4, you really need to be like a good example and like a leader, almost like a cheerleader, right? Because, and knowing what your weaknesses are and your strengths are. Okay. Because I could be a really good salesman, but I also know that I'm not very organized. So like knowing your personality skills, like for example, like I've taken the DISC personality test. Have you guys heard of DISC personality?
Sure.
So you've got DISC. D stands for dominant, I stands for influencer, S stands for stabilizer, and C stands for compliance. So, to really run a successful business, you really need to have, I would say, 2 to 3 people who have all different personalities to help you with the business.